Talking about law, we're talking about the importance of business and the law in the regulation of business and commerce. And there is other aspect which is important. And that aspect is the aspect. Oh, here is Sebas. Let me welcome Sebas because he's just joining. Sebas, good evening. How are you doing today? I think here is
Hello,
Sebas.
teacher. Good evening. I'm
How are
fine, and
you?
you?
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm here with Nati. We're talking about the importance of law. What is the relevance of law? How important do you think that law is in our society, Sebas? Do you think something trivial or something truly fundamental for the pacific coexistence of the citizens? Do you think it is something important or more or less important or irrelevant? What do you think? How
Can you
important?
repeat the question, teacher?
Yes, Sebas. How important do you think that law is in our society? Do you think it is important to maintain social order, to protect the individual rights, uh, to produce a fair legal justice system for economic regulations and for public governance? Or what do you think? How important it is to have a solid law and a solid legal system? What do you think of this?
It's important to have a social order in a city, in a country. It's important to protect all the civilians, be, all the civilians' rights, and to have a good economy in a country or in a city.
True, correct, correct. Well, you mentioned a key word, Seba. You said civilians. And that is true. And actually, there is what is called the martial law. Civilians is the people who have civil activity in the country, right? Is people who have civil work, but they also have the militaries. What happens with the militaries, with the militia? Well, you have what is called the martial law. What is the martial law? Can you look up in the internet for the definition of martial law, Sebas and Nati? What is martial law? What do you think? What is the definition of martial law?
I found something.
What is that, please?
Is the replacement of civilian government by military rule and the suspension of civilian legal processes for military powers.
Okay, can you say that again? The replacement of civilian rights?
Uh, is the replacement of civilian government by
Yes.
military rule and the suspension of civilian legal processes for military powers.
Okay, in this case, what happens is that now the military is in power and you apply the martial law. The military law is the martial law. So everything that was civilian is halted, right? Civil rights are halted. Halted means that they are stopped. And what rules now is the martial or the military is in charge now. It's an exception case of the law when all the guarantees, the legal guarantees, the civil guarantees are void or replaced or momentarily suspended, and then the military takes command of the nation. That has been the case in Argentina. Look at the history of Argentina, a number of cases in Peru, in Colombia, in all the South American countries, Nicaragua. In Mexico, I don't think we have ever had martial law. I don't think we have ever had a coup d'etat or a situation in which the civil rights are waived or halted or suspended and it takes place the military rule. I don't think we have ever had any case like that, like the Argentinians with Peron, Evita Peron, and other military regimes, which are very, very, I wouldn't say nice, right? The opposite. But well, we're talking about the concept of law, Sebas, Nati, and that is very, very interesting, very important too. And I have a question for you guys. I have a question that I wanted to ask you. Uh, when we talk about social justice and equality, social justice and equality, what do you think when we say social justice and equality? What is it that that you think about when I say this phrase? Nati first, Sebas later, please. Social justice and equality. I'm sorry. What is this, Nati?
Social justice. Okay. Social justice for me it's the mm, this well, could be a law or a sentence that involves people or humans, of course, but in the terms of the correct or the best way for us in the licitation, how do you say yes?
Yeah.
In the licitation way. And equality, um, it's a balance, but not only in words, um, it's something that is established and it's secure. There is a balance for many people. An example could be girls and boys.
Very interesting answer. I like it. Thank you. Thank you, Nati. Sebas, when I say social justice and equality, what comes to your mind? What exactly do you think about in this sense?
Social justice and equality. I think it's more. It's reference more to equality in the treatment in a society. If you have a more let's say it, economic a strong economy in your for you, well, you are not different than another person that probably don't have the same economy, right?
Okay. So you're
So
talking about anti discriminatory practices.
yes, yes, yes.
I suppose that you give equal priority to the access to labor to men and women, that probably for you, Sebas, giving work to women is just as important as it is giving work to men. Or if you have a company of materials construction, you will give the same preference to a person that is Catholic, to a person that is agnostic, to a person that is Protestant, or to a person that is 40, 45 years old, the same as to a person who is 25, 23. You don't discriminate based on age, uh, uh, religious creed, or age, or gender. What do you think? Is that what you're thinking about?
And yes, teacher.
Okay. And why? Why do you think people have the same rights? I mean, I agree with you. I'm not saying that they don't have the same rights, but what is the base of your thought? I mean, you're saying that everyone has the same rights. What about uh, yeah, yeah. What is the base of saying that everyone has the right to education, to employment, to food, to clothing? Is based on what? I agree, but what is your fundamental, Sebas, please? What's your foundation?
Well, because all we are humans, we are persons. We have the same necessities. We have
Okay.
we if we have the same necessities, we need to have the same rights, the same opportunities. But well, obviously, every people uh, could take the opportunities or could not.
Right, exactly. Well, this is a very humanitarian, very nice way of thinking. Thank you. And I agree with you fully, fully, completely. I agree with you. We all are humans. We are all humans, and we all have the same necessities, needs, and consequently, we have the rights, same rights and opportunities. But that doesn't happen, and we all know that that doesn't happen. And of course, asking questions is very easy, right? Giving the answers is what is difficult. Why this seems to be an utopia and and doesn't seem to oblige. I mean, why this doesn't seem to happen? Why this doesn't seem to oblige to happen, to take place, Nati? Sebas is giving us a very nice explanation. He says that everyone, every human has the same rights because we have the same necessities. But we don't all have the same rights. We know that. We know that people have different treatment. If you are Caucasian, if you are African, if you are Latin, if you are from Germany, if you are from France, if you are from Nicaragua. Why does this happen? What's your comment, Nati?
Um, I'm searching. What is utopia?
Utopia is something which is ideal, but that doesn't happen. For example, happiness in the world is an utopia. You want to have it, but it doesn't happen. It's impossible to have. Uh, Universal uh, welfare, universal attention, universal education is an utopia because it's something that you want, it's something that Sebas wants, something that I want, my daughters want, that there exists universal education. But that is an utopia because that doesn't happen. So what Sebas says here is very nice, is very important, is very desirable. Everyone would want that we have the same rights and opportunities. However, probably Sebas will agree with me, maybe you will agree with me, this this doesn't happen. The question is why.
Why? Probably because we have like a resistance in our thinking, in our mind, and we don't analyze all the factors that involve this. And I don't know if it is a fault of knowledge, but that's the same. That's the well, you say that it's like an impossible thing, but I think it's impossible because we we don't believe in that, or our knowledge or thinking it's different.
That's interesting, very interesting. So what you're saying that is maybe we lack confidence. Maybe we lack confidence to state that everyone in the earth can be fed, can live with justice and non discrimination. Is that what you're trying to say, Nati? Probably. Did I understand correctly? We don't have confidence to say with security everyone on the earth can be fed. We can give food to every person on earth and they can live, that they can all live with justice and non discrimination. So you think that with more confidence in every person, in every society, we could be able to achieve this,
Yeah,
everyone on earth? You think that is possible?
I think that.
Oh, that's very nice. Hopefully it can happen and stops being an utopia. So
Yeah,
it's not an utopia now, it is a reality.
yeah,
Hopefully.
of course.
Would be very nice. Thank you, Nati. Sebas, what do you think about this statement? Statement in red.
Um, well, I don't know.
You don't know. Too
uh,
optimistic or what?
Probably.
Well, what's your opinion? This is subjective. You can say that it's possible. You can say, well, under certain circumstances, under certain conditions, you can say blatantly, no, that's impossible. It's valid. Whatever you say is valid because it's your opinion.
Well, it's extremely hard to live with justice and non-discrimination. It's hard because in everywhere there will be a group of people of persons that probably uh, mm, didn't respect the rights of the others, and it's something I think very, I don't know.
Okay, you have your doubts, which is valid.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make a conclusion here. Nati is confident that this can happen. Sebas and I have some doubts. Both of us are optimistic. Sebas and I are optimistic, but not extremely optimistic about this specific case. Nati is very optimistic, which is fantastic. Hopefully that she's right and that we can dissolve our doubts. But well, at the moment we both think, I also think that is very um, difficult. But let's talk about another aspect of law. Another aspect of law is the protection of the vulnerable. Who are vulnerable, Nati? Who is vulnerable or who are vulnerable in the society?
Vulnerable in the topic of feelings, or vulnerable, like, for example, that exists a situation and you are the bad or the correct person.
No, no, it's not about bad or wrong
Uh-huh.
or right or wrong. It's not about right or wrong. It's about people who don't have access. Okay, let's say who are vulnerable. Well,
Yeah.
in what do you who do you think are vulnerable in society? People who lack education. They are vulnerable.
Hmm.
People who lack people who lack a job, people who lack, well, there are people who lack freedom, who are in prison for whatever reasons, rightfully or unrightfully. We don't know. People uh, uh, who lack values. There are people who don't have any values. So these people are all vulnerable,
Yeah.
right? They don't have instruction. They don't have a job. They don't have freedom. They don't have values. They don't have what else? They don't have. They lack uh, a social integration. They are marginated, integration, etc. There are lots of people who are vulnerable. So, do you think that the law is responsible to protect these people?
Mm, well, I think that probably, I'm not very sure, probably exist some laws that protect them, but it's I think it's more like analyze their cases and the reasons. Mm, how do you say las razones por las que?
The reasons why
Okay. The reasons why they have a lack.
lack. Well, maybe I was born in a very poor family. My dad was, I don't know, there is nothing wrong with being a plumber. I have good friends who are plumbers, but maybe he didn't have a lot of work. And my mother was a housewife. She was working at home all the time. And we were 10 brothers and sisters. and I didn't have access to school. Now I am 20, 25, and I have no education because my parents didn't take me to school. But now I need to feed myself. I'm gonna get married next week. So how do you protect these people who have no education, who are probably going to have a family, who need to eat, who need to do something useful in society, and lots of people like this?
Yeah.
Do you think the government, the society, the citizens are all more or less responsible to help these people or not? I mean, another question, is it smart to help them, to give them a job, to give them education, or let them by themselves so they become like in the jungle? They
No,
see,
we need to help them, of course, and give them an opportunity for increase first, of course. First, the first step is learn how can they work in a job, not only to put them on the job. They need to
to
capacitate,
train them.
yeah, train them, and then evaluate uh, their processes, their progress.
Okay, evaluate their progress. This is very important, but it's necessary, and it's humanitarian aid. That's it's very nice, Nati. Thank you that you think like this. Uh, Thank you, Nati. Sebas, what do you think? Who are the vulnerable? Should they be protected by the law?
Well, everyone could be vulnerable in a specific situation. Everyone.
Yeah,
So everyone, we in a moment we could need protection. Everyone. So it could be in a vulnerable situation of economic situation. We could be vulnerable in a health situation. In a
yeah,
probably if you are in a situation of violence, you could
right.
be vulnerable.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes, yes.
in a social context, you could be vulnerable because they are discrimination or something like that.
True, very true.
So I think it's important because everyone we are going to or everyone could need the protection because in a, in an aspect, um, I don't know, in one aspect we could be vulnerable.
Okay, very good, Sebas. Thank you very much. That's a very important comment. Nati, you and I agree on this. Now we have people who lack education. Let's call that number one. People who lack a job, that's number two. People who lack freedom, that's number three. People who lack values, that's number four. People who lack social integration, that's number five. And people who lack health services, that's number six. um, let's put them in correct in the order of importance for you, and that is very personal. That's a personal opinion. Actually, I should have put not numbers but letters. So this is case A. This is case B. I'm sorry, B is here. This is case C. This is case D. This is case E. And this is case F. From the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, not T, which is, in your opinion, the most important one? The most important is number one. Which is number one? Associated with which letter? A, B, C, D, E, or F, in your opinion?
Mm, I say letter D.
Which one?
D.
Letter D.
Yeah.
People who lack values. We need to protect the people who lack values. Okay. What is number two? The second in importance.
Probably lack health services. F.
Lack of health service. People who lack health service. That's F. Thank you, Sebas. Nati, what is number three?
Um, A.
A. People who lack education. Very good. What is number
Yes.
four, Sebas, please?
Probably the letter C.
Letter C. People who lack freedom, of course. Yes, that's important. Nati, number five, please. We have just A, B, C, D, E, F, B, and E. B and E. People who lack a job or people who lack social integration. Which is more important? What do you think, Nati? Is it more important to have
Social integration, it's like what? Like in.
to be part of society, not to be secluded, to be excluded from society? There are, for example, my street has pavement, has electricity, has access to water services, etc. I'm sure Seba's street and your street, we all have pavement, we all have electricity, we have water services, but that doesn't happen everywhere. There are some communities that don't have water, that don't have electricity, or that don't have pavement, that don't have access to many things, transportation, who are
Yeah.
excluded or segregated. They are not integrated socially. They are
Yeah.
excluded from society.
Well, that's my next option.
So that will be
Social integration.
social integration. And
Yeah.
Sebas, I guess your option is what? B or B? Well, okay, very good. Thank you very much. Now, um, I think Sebas and you both more or less agree on this order. The most important one is to have values. Why, Nati? Why did you choose? Why did Sebas and you choose this scheme, this hierarchy? Please tell me, Nati, and then Sebas, please. Why did you choose this hierarchy?
Well, I choose first the values because they are the base of all. It's more like how how do we learn in our house, in our family or relations. It's what we know. And if you talk with someone about values, you can know their own opinion, their feelings, their identity, of course.
I fully agree. Thank you, Nati. Sebas, you said that number two should be F. People who lack health services should be protected by the law. They are very vulnerable. Why?
Well, the health services needs to be it's a universal right for everyone because we all people needs to have access to these services. To I don't know because a crash, you are all with I don't know sick with something dangerous. For you broke a arm or something like that, you need it's important to people to have these health services for the needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important. Thank you very much, Sebas. That's a very important comment also. Nati, lack of education, they should be protected. Why?
Well, because as I said, it's the education, it's the knowledge, and other person, in this case, of course, the teacher, help us for to increase and develop our own self, and um, we can find our abilities in school.
In school and in society, at work,
Yeah.
right? Everywhere. Very true, Nati. Excellent comment. Thank you very much. Sebas, you said that freedom is important, is crucial, and we need to help people who lack freedom. We need to protect them. The law needs to protect them. How do you protect the people who lack freedom and why? Why should they need protection?
Well, the lack freedom, it's I think it's a bit controversial because probably you are in the jail, but and well, they're lacking your freedom, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that they need to protection because well, um they deserve that. But there are other people that probably don't does it doesn't deserve that.
Let me ask
The
you a question, Sebas.
Yeah.
Uh, have you had friends who maybe one day they got a bad grade at school and their parents gave him a good scolding or even a good spanking and they said, "You got a six." Well, good spanking, one, two, three in the back, right? Do you think their parents will give them a second chance or a third chance? Or they're going to say, out of school, no more school, go to work? What do you think?
I don't know.
Probably the parents will tell the kid, I'll give you a second opportunity. So next time you better get a seven or an eight or a nine or a 10, not a six again or a five. So you give a second chance to people, right? Maybe this guy that is in prison was suffering from hunger. I don't want to be very lax, very complacent. I don't want to say, I don't want to be apologetic of the people who are in prison. Maybe they deserve to be there, right? But maybe they stole because they had no chance. Maybe their families were suffering from hunger. Yeah, you can claim, yeah, but you need to go to work, you need to find a job, you need to get education, you need to go this. Yeah, but by that time, the family has already starved to death, right? The family, they need to eat today. The education process takes months, years. So the family is suffering from hunger now. How can we say, get to school, get a job? Yeah, but I mean, that takes time. And if the society doesn't help them, I'm not saying that it's all right to steal, much less to kill. That's awful. That's bad. But according to the Napoleonic, to the Roman law, people deserve a second opportunity. What do you think about that, Sebas?
Um, well, yes, probably there are people that needs a second chance.
A second chance. A second chance. Okay, so,
Um,
well, of course, it's not the same to steal a piece of bread because if I stole a piece of bread because I have 10 children and they don't have anything to eat, and I stole a piece of bread from Walmart because my baby was suffering from hunger, that to say I stole a bag because I want to have trips in France, right? So it's totally different, right?
yes,
Okay,
it's right.
very good. Nati, you said that social integration is important and we need to integrate people who lack social integration. Why? Why is this important? Why is social integration important?
Because we like when people treat us like a good person with a very equality things, and it's not cool that people exclude us for the things you mentioned about the services of water, electricity, of course, if you don't have these services, you're angry with, in this case, like with the government, and maybe you change your mind and see what happened with this, or probably you can create a revolution. So it's important to create a balance in these psychological things, that people could be do something, or the the reaction.
Yeah, absolutely true. Very good, Nati. Now, we have people who lack a job. Sebas, have you had friends, maybe a neighbor, maybe one person in the street who lacks a job, who doesn't have a job? Sometimes they say, well, I'm in between jobs. I just was terminated, or I quit my job. I'm looking for something different. Or they are struggling. Maybe it's not easy for them to say, I cannot find a job. I am almost desperate. I have 3 kids. Uh, why is this important to help people who don't have a job? Why is this so important?
Well, because so all of we have our necessities. We need to eat. We need to pay services. We need to pay the rent. We need to pay the food. We need to. Some people needs to maintain a family. So it's important to have a job to to can to provide all that a family needs or that you
Absolutely.
need.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's crucial. What Natia you are saying is very, very important. Now, a while ago, I think Natia, some of you mentioned uh, that we need to maintain or conserve the environment. So, environmental conservation is crucial. Why is this crucial? Well, because for the simple reason that we live in a society. So we cannot just say, well, I'm going to burn a forest today because I have nothing else to do. I'm just going to burn the forest, and what the heck? More pollution, more contamination is not going to affect anyone. If it does, I don't really care. So, what about the law to protect the environmental conservation? Why is this important, Nati?
Um, well, if we are talking like, I don't know, in this um how can you explain it? People have different thinkings, but we need to control it, like you say. We need to learn how can we control our opinions. Um, we can check the correct information. Actually, we have internet, books in Google, PDF, all of this evolution and changes with the past of the time, and it's easier than in the past, of course. It's easier for us to check um, the correct information.
Okay, let me ask you something, Nati or Sebas. Sebas, um, do you believe that there should be laws to restrict gas emissions? Do you think there should be laws to restrict gas emissions? That you go to Pemex and tell them, look, you are polluting the environment. This is the limit. This is a gas emission control. If you come to Leon, you can establish laws to restrict the water pollutants. We just have the tanneries where we make the shoes and jackets and belts and wallets, all products made of leather wallets, leather belts, leather products in general. And they are tanned with chemicals that pollute the water, like chrome and brome, right? Chromium and bromium, or brome. I think it's called brome. And we just toss them to the water. Well, what the heck? Is not my problem. What do you think of that? Is it possible to just throw any kind of pollutants to the water? Or maybe I want to grow agave or monocultivars with no regulations, no restrictions, and I use biochemicals that erode laws to forbid the soil erosion. Maybe forbid, I'm sorry. Forbid is the same as prohibit. So should we establish laws to forbid the soil erosion, or we just shouldn't care? What's your opinion, Sebas, about this? What do you think about this?
Uh, well, obviously, we need to have laws to that because in a couple of years, we the human starts to contaminate a lot all the ecosystems,
Mhm.
and now it's important to have these laws to prevent to start to contaminate more because it's very hard to stop to contaminate, but we can reduce it at the minimum with these laws.
All right.
Well, what this allows wants it to reduce it at the minimum.
Have you been to Mexico City, Sebas or Nati? You cannot travel to Mexico City with a permit, without a permit. You need a permit which states that you are a visitor, that your car is in good shape, and that you're going to be there for 1 or 2 days. And you need a permit because you're bringing in cars that produce gas emissions with exhaust, and that will pollute potentially the environment. So there are laws that restrict gas emissions. Like that, there should be laws that restrict water pollutants. I have not seen any yet, but I think they are necessary. What about laws to forbid the soil erosion, Nati? What's your opinion about these laws? Are they necessary? If so, why? Why are they necessary? Why do we need laws to protect the soil from being eroded or from soil erosion? Why is this necessary?
Because it's our way for walking, and we need to protect, in first instation, for us, uh, because we can walk uh, on the soil, and it's like, some of these laws are like logical, but uh, of course the government involves in, yes,
Involved?
involves involves in this, and maybe they don't um, take um, the correct decisions, or a decision in the soil erosion.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And that is a serious problem. You are right. The governments are normally not involved in protecting the soils from erosion. However, the soils get eroded for for many practices, actually. Let me ask you and Sebas, what are the practices that erode the soils? That's a good question, actually. Let's find this out. You can Google it. What are the malpractices that erode the soils Can you Google this, please? What are the malpractices that erode the soils? Because they happen, they take place. We pay a blind eye. We say, no, that is not happening. Oh, yeah, that is happening. Why? What are these practices that erode the soils, please? If you can look this up.
Uh, I really like it there of erosion, right?
Erosion, yes. Erode is
Okay.
the verb, erosion is the substantive.
Erosion. Yes. Sorry. I think one of them is overproduction of or overexploitation
Of what?
of the lands.
Of the lands. Exactly, yes, that is true. Overproduction of the lands.
And
You
they use
maximize the production, but you don't rotate the crops. That is true. That is very true. And that is true. So it's an improper agricultural practice like monoculture, tillage, improper irrigation. Okay, I'm going to put this, Sebas, if you can please read it. That's exactly what you were saying. Can you read this,
yes, teacher.
please?
Improper agricultural practices such as monoculture, excessive tillage, and
Tillage
improper irrigation can contribute to soil erosion.
can contribute to soil erosion. Yeah, that is true. So if you don't irrigate the lands properly, if you don't do a rotation of crops, like today you harvest, you plant onions, well, the next season you need to do something different, broccoli maybe, or probably tomatoes or something. You cannot continue with tomatoes and tomatoes and tomatoes and tomatoes because then you're going to erode the land. So that is very important, Sebas. What you are saying is very true. What about this concept, Nati? What do you think of deforestation? Do you believe that deforestation contributes to the soil erosion?
Yes.
Why? How?
Um, well, that's a good question because I only know that contributes, but I don't know the why.
Well, if you have trees, you're going to have a big contribution of oxygen. The what do you call this? The ecosystem will be under balance. The greens will, the variety of this ecosystem, the variety of species in this ecosystem will tend to maintain a balance, right? Uh, so they will preserve, they will enhance to the food chain, which is also important. You have bees, the bees pollinate the flowers grow and feed some animals, some rabbits maybe. The rabbits grow and reproduce and they feed some felines, let's say, or predators. And then there is a food chain which is preserved. And when you deforest a forest, then you extinguish lots of species, animal species. They become extinct and you create sometimes permanent damage to the soils. So that is very serious and we need to halt. We need to halt. So deforestation must be halted, must be stopped, right? Deforestation must be halted. That is one thing. All right. Then another thing which is overgrazing. Let's see this, Nati. Excessive grazing. Can you read this, Nati, please?
Yes, teacher. Excessive grazing by livestock can lead to the removal of vegetation cover, reducing the ability of the soil to resist erosion.
Yeah, of course. You have 10 cows and the cows need to eat. Well, you more or less make a calculation. You say, well, I have 10 hectares, one cow per hectare, 10 cows, 10 hectares, perfect. But if you have 10 hectares and you bring in 50 cows or 100 cows, they're going to overgraze the grass of your land, and that way you will remove the vegetation cover, which is bad for the land, and that will reduce the ability of the soil to resist erosion. So overgrazing is also bad. Thank you, Nati. And then we have one which is very common: urbanization. What about this, Sebas?
Urbanization.
Yeah.
Well, urbanization, I think, yeah, it's. Mm, well, yes, it contributes to the erosion of the lands because we start to um, probably expanding the cities. We're expanding, so we use more space in this that probably were were mm, I don't know ter-
We use fertile land, right?
well,
We
yes.
we grow, we develop cities, develop clusters in fertile land, and that is terrible because we need to use the land to grow, to cultivate crops, not to urbanize it. We need to urbanize zones that are already eroded or that are not fertile. We need to use specific places which don't have a very fertile land. But if you have an hectare of strawberries, and then you say, well, I'm going to remove that and I'm going to grow, I'm going to make a development. Well, yeah, maybe you think that's going to make you a lot of money. Yeah, but it's going to damage the ecosystem. So it's difficult to resist because it's a financial project. But what about the ecosystems? So is there where the finance fights with society and sustainability. That's why they call this concept of sustainable. Sometimes urbanizing lands that are fertile contributes to eroding the land. But there is another one, which is mining. Nati, what do you think of this activity, mining? Do you think that erodes the soils? Is that an extractivist industry that destroys the ecosystems in a place? What's your opinion? What do you think about mining, Nati?
Yes.
Why is mining an activity that causes problems in the communities?
Um, Probably because um, the security terms of the job are not the best, of course, and I don't know if it is sure, but probably laws only say that it's like a responsible worker's responsibility, and they don't check the case or protect them, and not only for an accident, uh, for many reasons and health or the families, because if they're uh, past something, they need to have a result or a solution.
Right. So what you're saying is that mining, like digging to find copper, uh, gold, uh, other metals, will create pollution, will create problems, right? So it has lots of problems. Actually, one of the problems can result in extensive land disturbance. Look, it causes soil erosion, it causes water pollution. So mining causes all types of problems. One of the problems is land disturbance. What do you think land disturbance is, Sebas? What is land disturbance? What is this concept? What is land disturbance? And why is this important?
I don't know what it is, teacher.
Well, land disturbance, large areas of land are cleared to access minerals. I'm going to give you the definition. Land disturbance. Let me give the definition. Okay, let's read it. Let's read it, please, and then we discuss it. And you make a comment about this, Sebas, please.
Yes, teacher. Large disturbance. Large areas
Land,
of land.
land, land disturbance.
Land disturbance. Large areas of land are cleared to access mineral deposits, leading to deforestation and habitat destruction. This disrupts ecosystems and can lead to the loss of biodiversity.
Okay. What do you think of this? Particularly now that you are
Wow.
in a mining zone like Zacatecas. Zacatecas is a very large mining state uh, where lots of minerals are extracted. What do you think about this?
Well, now, well, it's yeah, it contributes to the erosion and loss of biodiversity because they start to lose because with this disturbing the land starts to lose properties that are essential for the probably the plants that are the base of the are the base of the alimentation of animals of some animals, and it causes the loss of probably forest or things like that, and obviously loss of animals via biodiversity.
Yeah, absolutely. Very true. That is very true. The other concept that happens when there is a mine, when there is a mining activity, is the water pollution. Nati, can you please read this? Water pollution.
Yes, teacher. Water pollution. Mining operations can contaminate water sources through the discharge of various pollutants. Runoff from mining sites may contain heavy metals, sediment, and toxic chemicals that can leach into nearby rivers. And can you go down, please?
Yeah, of course. Give me a second. Here.
And streams, harming aquatic ecosystems and posing risks to human health.
All right. So toxic chemicals can leach. Can leach is can become immersed, right? They can penetrate the the cover. They are absorbed into the crust of the earth, and then they get to nearby rivers and they pollute the water of the rivers and the streams. Even if they are flowing, they pollute them, and that damages ecosystems. And of course, they pollute the water here, right? Here is the river, and here is a city. So here is the mine. Mine, let's say the copper mine or gold mine, copper mine. Here is the copper mine. The water is polluted, but because it's a river, the water, excuse me, is running until it gets to the city, like with the Lerma River, right? And then we get the water, but the water is already what? Polluted, right? We get the water of the river polluted. And then we say, but why is the water of the river polluted? Well, because kilometers behind, there is a mining industry that polluted the water, like here. Copper mine that pollutes the water. And they are very happy because they say, well, I don't drink from that water. I just take the gold or the copper or the silver and I go back home. Thank you, guys. They don't consume from that water, but we do. We drink that water here. So they pollute the water, but we drink it. What do you think? What do you guys think?
I'm very surprised of this way of the river of, well, the, yeah, it's the way or the case that have this river.
Um, yeah, exactly right. Um, well, yeah, yeah, that is true. That is true. But then, well, that's how it is. Let's see. Well, so the conclusion is that we need the law to protect the environment. So that's the conclusion. We need the protection of the law to take care of the environment. This is the conclusion. Now that you are studying the law, this is one of the aspects in which the law is very extremely important. Nati. We need to protect the environment as well. So that's that. But the law doesn't end over there, right? Yes, we need the protection of the law to take care of the environment. But additional to that, excuse me, we need to maintain international relations. We need to have international law agreements. We need to have um, pacific interactions with other countries. But they don't exist, do they? I mean, do we have pacific interactions with other countries? Not us, obviously, but are there only pacific or peaceful interactions among all the countries? What do you think, Sebas? Is this true or is an utopia? This does not exist.
Nah, this doesn't exist.
What examples do
Then,
you have at hand that can show that this?
United States with North Korea, United States with Russia, Russia with Ukraine,
Ukraine, yes.
United States with no, no, it's not Asian. It's like a, how do you Arabs? How do you say it, teacher?
Uh, Arab Emirates, United Arab Emirates. United Arab Emirates. So what is the
United
issue
Arab
here?
Emirates. United Arab Emirates. Probably um, North Korea with South Korea, and probably there are more examples that of non-peaceful relation interactions with of countries.
Yeah, let me answer a message really quick. Um, that is very, very important. So those are good examples, Sebas. The Ukraine with Russia, Korea with North Korea, Israel with Palestine, wars all over the world. And who intervenes? Who is the law when there is an international conflict? Well, actually, let's look this answer. Who is the law when there is an international conflict? Can a country just attack another country and say, well, I see there is no democracy in the United States, Sebas. Tomorrow I'm going to attack them. What do you think? Nati, what do you think? I see there is no democracy in the US. Tomorrow I'm going to launch an invasion.
Probably Russians do that, but it's not. Um, of course, we know that it's not correct, but it's what happened in our reality. Some countries, and not the countries like all of the people. It's the government and the politicians want to have it all, and they
Want to have
are
it all.
just have it all. And I don't know if it is the power or what happened with them. They, how you say, exponer,
Expose
they expose the um,
the world,
yeah, the world and their own people.
their own people, their own people.
Yeah,
Yes. And who cares? I mean, you, Sebas, and I say that's wrong. And so what?
yeah. And what happened? We cannot do anything. Well, only we can, of course, change our mind, but we don't have the power for fight with a machine or a missile.
Yeah. So back to the question. Thank you, Nati. Who is the law when there is an international conflict, Sebas?
When there is an international conflict, a lot, I don't know.
Is there any body that regulates international law?
um, I don't know, teacher.
Is there
I
going to be
didn't.
some type of arbitration or
Well,
mediation?
probably the ONU.
The United Nations. All right. Well, yeah, the United Nations Charter. But what if you don't want to adhere to that? Okay, you say, okay, the United Nations is the law. That is true in many instances, but you need to adhere to this organization. Okay, you need to be a member of the United Nations to seek protection. It's like an international referee. Yeah, that's what it is. But you need to be a member. If you have an argument with your cousin, let's suppose that you have a let's say Lalito is a fantastic kid, but you have a dispute with Lalito, right? Your cousin. You say that apple is mine. No, Lalito says this apple, Sebas, is not yours, it's mine. No, it's mine. No, it's mine. You are fighting for an apple. Who is the law? You resort maybe to Lalito's dad, right? Or Lalito goes to your mom and says, Miss Pili, Lalito, Sebas wants to take my apple, but this is mine. You have an agreement, a person that everyone in the family respects, right? If your mom says, Lalito, Sebas, you share the apple, you split it in two, you will obey, you will be obedient, you will say, yes, okay, mom, oh, yes, and perfect, and you respect it. But what happens if Ponchito and Panchita are from different countries and they say, well, I don't respect that authority? What I mean is, if one country is not a member of the United Nations, there are countries who are not members of the United Nations. Let's see a country that is not a member of the United Nations, please. What is a country that is not a member of the United Nations, Sebas, Nati? A country that is not a member of the UN. What country is not a member of the United Nations? The Vatican is not a member of the United Nations. Palestine is not a country of the United Nations.
Taiwan.
Taiwan is not a country of the. So what happens if there is a country, a conflict between Taiwan, let's say, and Mexico? We are members of the United Nations, but Taiwan is not. What happens? Who is the boss?
Definitely.
Who is the referee?
The machines and the fight.
Well, the machines are the referee, right? Who has more power, right?
Right.
Okay, well, that is unfortunate, but that is very true. Okay, um, there is another branch of law that is very relevant, and that is uh, personal accountability.
The OTAN too, right?
The what?
OTAN?
The OTAN. Yeah, the OTAN is another, or called NATO. NATO is the name in English. NATO. NATO is another organization, Sebas, which is OTAN in Spanish. What is the meaning of OTAN? What is OTAN? Which are what is the meaning of NATO? North America, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. What is the purpose of this organization, Sebas? Please go ahead.
Um, if I remember correctly, it was in a case of conflict, the OTAN, all the OTAN helps to the country to reach part of this. In a,
Okay.
in if there is a country, then all the countries that are part of the NATO helps the country in the conflict.
Okay,
I don't,
yes.
I don't know where how much countries there are there in the
How many
NATO.
countries
I don't know.
are members of NATO? Let's see, I don't know either. 30 members. 30 members of NATO. Wow, I didn't know that. Let's see. These are the countries of NATO. I'm going to put them here. Let me just shrink this a little bit. And these are the countries members of NATO. And I'm going to go back to here. Just a second. These countries are the members of NATO. Take a look at them, please. So let's read them. Sebas, please. Which are these countries? 30 countries members of NATO. Can you read them?
Yes, Albania, Belgium, Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia,
Croatia, yes.
Czech Republic,
Czech
Denmark,
Republic,
Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Latvia,
Latvia,
Lithuania, Luxembourg, Montenegro, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Turkey, and United States.
these are all the nations that belong to the NATO. In case of a conflagration, the NATO will decide and establish order. 30 members in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Well, they. What about the tribunals in the Hague? What is that? It's the International Court of Justice. So let's read about it. The International Court of Justice, set in the Hague in Holland, on the Netherlands, is a very important body. That the purpose. What is the purpose? Well, let's read the purpose, Nati, please. Can you please read this? The International Court of Justice, Nati. This is very important. It's in The Hague, which is in the Netherlands, or Holland, if you will. Let's read it. Nati, please. The International Court of Justice.
Yes, teacher. Purpose: the ICJ settles legal disputes between states and gives advisory opinions on legal questions referred to it by the UN General Assembly, the UN Security Council, or other specialized UN agencies.
Very good. Who are the judges? Who are the judges in this organization? Well, here, Sebas, please. How is the composition of the International Court of Justice? Sebas, please.
Yes, teacher. Composition. It consists of 15 judges elected by the UN
United
General
Nations, United Nations.
United Nations General Assembly and the Security Council. Each judge serves a 9-year term.
Okay. And what is the jurisdiction? I mean, do they govern all the galaxy, all the universe, the Earth, one part of the Earth? What is the jurisdiction? Nati, please.
Yes, jurisdiction. The ICJ has jurisdiction over a range of legal matters, including issues related to international law, state sovereignty, and
Sovereignty, sovereignty.
sovereignty and treaties.
Okay, so let's say that Mexico says, well, I want to enslave Guatemala. Starting next Monday, Guatemala will be a slave country and we will be the masters. Guatemala is going to be the slave country. Is that possible under international law? Or that is impossible? What do you think, Sebas? Can you enslave a country or a nation? Can you
It's,
subjugate? Can you
um,
subjugate a nation?
if you have the enough power, probably yes.
Well, that is
Well, other
probably true in reality, but legally, is that possible?
no, legally not. I think.
Unfortunately, well, I think it's unfortunate because maybe because we don't have the power, right? But the power rules. That seems to be the case in our modern society. Supposedly the law is created to protect the weak from the abuse of the strong. What do you think of this sentence, Nati? Do you agree with it? Or is an illusion? Or is probably the opposite? What do you think? Power
Mm,
rules, and the law is created to protect the weak from the abuse of the strong. Is that true? Or maybe it's just an illusion? What do you think?
it's kind of course, true if we say that we have an equality and the best world, but the reality is the opposite. We know that the strong or abused people have, if they have the dinner or the contact, the possibility that to change the case, um, they can do it, and the law don't protect the weak.
The law doesn't protect the weak. That's what you're saying. Wow, it's incredible, but I tend to agree with you. I have the tendency, I tend to agree with you, and this is very controversial. Let me ask Sebas what he thinks. Thank you, Nati. Sebas, what do you think about what Nati is saying? Nati says that the law is created to protect the weak from the abuse of the strong in theory, but in reality, it looks seems to be the opposite. What do you think?
Well, it was the uh, purpose of the laws, but sometimes yes, it seems the opposite. And now, well, the the I think what example it's United States.
But do you think power eventually comes to an end, even if it takes decades or centuries? And then the society takes care of itself, or not? Maybe not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just an illusion. Power eventually comes to an end, and if even if it takes decades or centuries. What do you think about this sentence, Sebas? And then Nati.
Mm, well, yes, but it could take lots of time, certainly.
All right. Nat, thank you, Nat. Thank you, Sebas. What do you think, Nati?
Yes, as well as Sebastian said, it take time and evidence, of course. Uh, a good defense, a good liar.
So, if this is correct, should countries strive to become stronger rather than uh, nobler? This is pretty. I don't know. This is highly controversial. I know that this doesn't look very good. I don't know. Maybe we should. What do you think, Sebas? Strive is make an attempt, make an effort. Is strive. Should countries make an effort to become stronger rather than nobler? I want to become a more noble country. Well, that's a mistake. You should become stronger. What do you think?
I don't. Well, no, I think no,
No?
no, I think no.
What's wrong with being a strong country?
Well, there's nothing bad, but I think it's the form of the countries to advocate the power that the country has.
Which are those ways to get the power to become more powerful? How do you become more powerful? How can that happen? If that is possible, how can they become more powerful or more respected internationally speaking? More power, more respect, right? What do you think? Do you agree there is a correlation with power and respect? Or maybe not?
Probably not. It's not respect. It's more fear.
Fear. Okay. Well,
Fear
yeah.
that the stronger country uh, could be made something to the other, the less strong countries.
Okay. But then what do you do if we are a weak country, an underdeveloped country? Uh, shouldn't we become stronger? I mean, let me make it in very, very, very simplistic terms. Very simplistic. I am oversimplifying, Sebas. Why do you go to the gym?
Uh, the
You you want
First
to
of
be
all, because
stronger, right? More healthy. You
uh,
want to, I know, get in better shape, maintain a good physical condition, be
mm,
healthy, right?
yeah,
Or not?
we could. Well, yeah, we. I'm going to say that yes, because I want to be healthy.
You want to be healthy.
Yeah.
In a way, probably a little bit stronger, maybe, or not. Or that's not even remotely an idea.
What of?
A little bit stronger
Yes, I want to be a little bit stronger.
is normal, right? Is
Yes.
legal, is acceptable. It's legal to want to become stronger. So why countries shouldn't strive to become stronger? Nati, what do you think? Thank you, Sebas.
About how do countries become more powerful?
More powerful or stronger, exactly. Should we strive? Should we make an attempt? Should we make an effort to become stronger as a country, as a nation? Is this advisable? Is it something that you desire, that society, that civilians should strive? Should we strive to become stronger?
Mm, I think it's an important decision for the country. Politicians maybe do it, but not do it for all the country, only by their names or they own areas, but not like their own. Maybe they only say that they do it, and it's the opposite. Maybe if we are talking about like with Russia or USA, that are the bigger countries, I want to say that probably they have power because they buy in the correct way, or how do you say apoderarse?
They get empowered.
Getting power with things, material things, not with rights and the correct decisions, like material things, because that's what they want. It's the important for them, especially
That's
for the
important.
president.
Yeah, well, that's important for them. What is important for us?
Well, because if you travel to another country, you can say, "Oh, I live in Mexico," and all the people know um, the reputation. It's a reputation, and it's not only like an ideology that we create only because we don't really insert time if it's true or false.
Yeah. These two words, Nati, are not trivial. They are important. These two words that you introduce in the jargon, in the vocabulary of the conversation, are very, very important. So reputation is the prestige that you have in society, right? And ideology is a way of thinking that follows certain norms, ideas, morals, principles, and consequently, do we have an ideology that we follow blindly, or do we follow an ideology based on principles and values, or was it an imposition of our previous generations, from the society, from the colonization, from the colony, or what? Right? That's a very broad concept. It's very wide, very big. The concept of ideology is discussed with scholars in universities, in research centers, and there are disputes, agreements, controversies, etc. So it's a very critical word, and I'm very glad that you introduced this word, the same as reputation and prestige. And so we're going to do a conversation about these terms one day, because they are very crucial for the understanding of society in general. I'm going to ask Sebas and then you, Nati, to give a concluding comment about the law, the importance of law, why it is necessary in various orders: social order, stability, protection of individual rights, legal justice system. What is the law? Why is it important? So, Sebas, can you please give your concluding comments, and then Nati, please. What is the importance of law?
Well, the importance of laws in our society are incredibly with a big importance because they give us a social order. They give us protection if we are vulnerable in some situations. In it regulates the industries. It regulates the countries that if they want to do something illegal, probably attack other countries or the in a economical context are important too. So the laws in our society are important because they are the base of the society, are the base of them. And
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, Sebas, continue.
two, it's the base to have a functional society
Functional society.
and don't have uh, chaos, chaos,
Chaos. Chaos.
chaos, chaos. Yes.
Very good. Excellent comments, Sebas. Thank you very much. I appreciate your final comments of the session. Nati, please, what do you want to say about the importance and relevance of law?
Well, I only want to say that first we need to start at our house. Um, if we want to be more personal for our own self, we need to change the actions that we do. We need to stop and analyze our consequences. Of course, maybe one day we want to do something crazy for us, but it's important to understand that if it is occurred, I don't know, a delete or a very bad case, the law maybe defend us. But if there exists an power person, they or he or she can win the case, and we have the bad solution.
Okay. Very good, Nati. Excellent comments from you and Sebas. I want to thank you again for your wise and interesting comments about a new topic, actually, because this is not a topic that we talk about too often. So the vocabulary is more or less new. The ideas are new. Well, no, the ideas of law are not new, because we discuss the law every moment. The law in the school, the law in society, the law in various environments. But it's an important topic. I'm glad that you brought it up, Nati, and we had Sebas. Sebas, thank you for your comments, making good comments as well. So that's it. Thank you very much. You guys take care and see you next Thursday, if God permits. All right.
Yes, teacher. See you next class.
Thank
Take
you so much,
care.
teacher.
Nothing, Sebas.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye,
Enjoy.
bye. Good night.
Bye bye.